Everybody likes the story about an underdog.
Tailwind CSS is incredible.
4 reasons why I love Tailwind.
Why you should use Tailwind CSS into your next project.
Someone out of the ordinary.
The way that I would build stuff is I would open an HTML file, write all the markup that I needed for the feature that I was trying to implement.
This is not one of those stories.
The framework Tailwind CSS is going broke.
AI might be killing Tailwind and maybe even open source.
Tailwind CSS is dying.
Whether or not you like Tailwind has nothing to do with the harsh reality that we're seeing here. This is one of the first examples of AI immediately causing engineers to lose jobs.
The problems are so big that it may go out of business and become abandonware in the future.
This story begins with a developer named Adam Wathan. He was just a Laravel developer trying to solve his own problems. A college dropout who had discovered his passion for coding through a digital audio workstation called Reaper. Adam found himself constantly frustrated by existing CSS approaches while building a side project called KidTail. His struggle did not come from wanting to become a hero or change the world. It came from the frustration. Adam was a full-stack developer who openly admitted that he used to suck at design. He wanted his ideas to look good without having to depend on a designer. That weakness, feeling not good enough at design, ended up shaping what later became one of the most controversial frameworks in the history of WebDev. In 2017, Adam casually mentioned his CSS struggles to his longtime designer friend Steve Sugar over a coffee at Starbucks. That conversation sparked an obsession. On Halloween night 2017, Adam released Tailwind CSS version 0.1.0. It was rough, undocumented, and born from pure necessity. Within the first month, the GitHub repository accumulated 8,000 stars and nearly 700,000 npm installs. But the reception was overwhelmingly hostile. Imagine putting your creation into the world and being told that you are destroying the internet. That was Adam's reality. The philosophical conflict was immediate and brutal. Tailwind CSS violated a separation of concern, a principle that had been treated as a sacred law in web development for decades. Traditional architecture dictated that HTML describes structure, CSS describes style, and never the twain shall meet. Tailwind CSS threw this principle out of the window by embedding styling directly into HTML markups via utility classes. The criticism was visceral. On Reddit and Hacker News, developer roasted it. They called it inline CSS with extra steps, a step backward for web development, and they even said that it looks like a garbage. The dev soup complaint became the rallying cry for the critiques. They argued that Tailwind CSS made HTML unreadable and unmaintainable. Seeing a button component with a string of utility classes looked like a sin to developers trained in semantic HTML and BIM methodologies.
Alright guys, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about why I hate Tailwind CSS. And just right off the bat, I will let you know, I have not used this a ton. I've been doing CSS development for over 10 years. I consider myself to be pretty effective with it, so...
This wasn't just about aesthetics, it was a philosophical war. Traditionalists believed semantic class names and reusable CSS components were the right way. Well-respected web standard advocate published pieces criticizing Tailwind CSS, and when shared on Twitter, Adam had to publicly defend himself. This disclosure became so toxic that some developers reported feeling attacked for simply using the framework. But here is the tragic irony. Adam wasn't wrong. He was just answering a different question than the purists were asking. The purists asked, how do we maintain the perfect separation of concern? Adam asked, how do we build things faster without cascading CSS nightmares? For 18 months, Adam weathered the criticism. He iterated, refined, and on May 13, 2019, he released Tailwind CSS version 1.0. This wasn't just a version bump, it was the moment that the framework stopped looking like a toy and started looking like a solution. 3 things changed. First, Steve Sugar design system gave the framework beautiful defaults, solving the "it's ugly" criticism. Second, they released a proper documentation teaching people how to think about the utility-first CSS. And third and finally, they achieved API stability. By this time, Adam had committed to working on Tailwind full-time. This was no longer a hobby, it was a career. Then, in February 2020 came the commercial pivot. After working 36 hours straight, Adam and his team launched Tailwind UI, a commercial product offering premium and pre-designed components. The result was staggering. By August 2020, they had crossed 2 million in revenue in just 5 months. Adam could hire a real team. Tailwind Labs became a real business. The framework that everyone said would fail was suddenly economically viable. It proved a crucial point. Developers wanted what Tailwind offered, even if intellectuals rejected the philosophy. For years, Tailwind CSS had one glaring weakness that critics love to exploit. The development sheet was enormous. Because it generated every possible utility class up front, developers were dealing with 10 to 20 megabytes of unused CSS. It bogged down the IDEs and slowed build times. In April 2021, with the release of version 2.1, Adam unleashed the Just-in-Time or JIT compiler. It was a paradigm shift. Instead of generating all possible CSS classes up front, JIT generated only the classes you actually use in real time. The impact was devastating to the critics' arguments. Development build time dropped from 15 to 30 seconds to literally 1 second. The bloated CSS complaint evaporated overnight. By version 3.0, JIT became the default. The technical controversy was effectively over. The deeper reason Tailwind CSS won isn't just that it became better, it's that the web platform evolved in its favor. The rise of React, Vue, and Svelte normalized component-based thinking. In these frameworks, a component is a cohesive unit of HTML and JavaScript living together. Suddenly, the idea of separating CSS into a different file fell backward. Tailwind CSS did not violate separation of concern, it redefined what concern meant. Instead of separating HTML from CSS globally, it co-located them within a component scope. Even the competition surrendered. Bootstrap 5 eventually copied this approach, adding utility class to compete. The enemy had admitted defeat. But the story of Tailwind CSS is genuinely sad. Not because of the initial rejection, but because of what happened at the peak of its success. By January 2026, Tailwind CSS had achieved a complete market dominance. It was one of the most popular CSS frameworks on GitHub. But just as they won the war, a new enemy emerged. Artificial intelligence. Tailwind CSS makes money through a Tailwind Plus, formerly Tailwind UI. Tailwind Plus provides a lifetime access to a pre-built UI components and templates, and the pricing structure includes personal license, which is $299 one-time purchase for individual developers. It also offers a team license, which is $979 one-time purchase for a team of up to 25 people. Both licenses include lifetime access to all existing content, plus any future updates at no additional cost. The second way Tailwind CSS makes money is a Catalyst Application UI Kit, which is a specialized React component library built with Tailwind CSS, available as a standalone purchase for $149 one time, or include as a part of Tailwind Plus subscription. It provides production-ready components that developers can customize directly through their utility classes. Tailwind CSS also makes money through individual site templates, so developers can purchase a specific website template separately, each representing a one-time purchase that includes free updates for a particular template. And finally, they make money through sponsorships. Despite this success, Tailwind CSS faces a significant business model disruption. Revenue has plummeted approximately 80% since early 2024, while website traffic declined 40% from early 2023 levels. This collapse occurred despite Tailwind CSS becoming more popular than ever in terms of adoption and downloads. The revenue decline stemmed from AI coding assistants such as Cursor, GitHub Copilot, Claude Code, and ChatGPTs. When developers ask an AI how to implement a Tailwind CSS feature, the AI provides the answer instantly, eliminating the need to visit tailwindcss.com where pet products are advertised. This broke on the conversion funnel that previously drove sales, the business model that had sustained them. Tailwind UI was disseminated. The company laid off 75% of their engineering team because AI reduced their revenue by 80%. Adam tweeted about this situation with a characteristic transparency. 75% of our people in our engineering team lost their job here yesterday because of the brutal impact AI has had on our business. When Adam dropped the video on his X account, within 48 hours, content creators started to spread this news heavily. People were tweeting about it everywhere, and finally, tech giants rushed to sponsor Tailwind CSS. Vercel, Gumroad, Google AI Studio, Lovable, and Macroscope pledged financial support to Tailwind CSS.